How many people here speak Telugu? Excellent. I want to check something with you. I want the word that means unleashed in Telugu. Who can help me with that? How do you say unleashed? Unleashed means release. How do you say in Telugu? Shout it out. Okay, the person I was sitting at the table, he says it is Vadulatha Nano. Is that correct? Vadulatha Nano. What does that mean, unleash? Okay, we are going to unleash this whole presentation in 30 seconds. What can you expect from a session that starts with the word unleashing? I have been unleashed on you. What can you expect from a session that talks about the word future? I saw all the questions, difficult questions. So I may or may not take questions depending if you want to be nice to me. I want you in this presentation to expect the unexpected. I hope that the person who said that VFX is a terrible thing that people are getting addicted to will stay in this room and will speak with me after the end of my presentation. But our job as storytellers is to use our superpowers and to reveal some secrets. What does visual effects do? It is a crystal that gives film, TV, and locations every magic pixel dust. And this, how many of you are artists? Okay, most of you are artists. So visual effects is not done with a computer. Visual effects is done by reaching into the soul of every single artist. People make visual effects. Software doesn't make visual effects. Hardware doesn't make visual effects. To come here today, I have gone back in time and studied how Egyptian and Babylonian and Indian and Chinese culture and the relationship started. And it started with things that were secrets that were discovered, right? The underneath the stones, circles, various things, the great discoveries of the past were made, and nature's little secrets are the ones that we use when we create visual effects for the movies. I will reveal this to you with a few fantastic examples and give you a glimpse of who we are and what we do. So the treasures you see today in making movies, and I know that you love all the actors and the cinematographers and the writers as you should. But today, no matter what you do in the business of making images, it is about training the mind. A question was asked earlier, whether a fresher can do something or an experienced person can do something. And there's something for everyone. Because since all of you are artists, you know almost every frame of film that we make has almost 12 or 13 or 14 different skill sets. And one of them could be fantastic for you. So you need to find your sweet spot. You need to find how to train your eye, right? People coming out of film school say, I want to direct a movie. But there's lots of things to do before you direct your big movie, right? No one made it in a day. So I want to start by telling you that we are lucky. We work at Technicolor Creative Studios, and we are really, really lucky. And the reason we are lucky is that we do different things in different parts of our organization. Some are fully animated, some are short films and commercials, some are experiential. I'm going to show you 3 things that the world has never seen today. But that's going to come after 22.5 minutes. So you have to be a little patient. Now, they said when you start doing something, you're going to be filmmakers. All of you are in the business of making images. Everything has been thought of before, but the difficulty is to think of it again. So when you create franchise, you talked about universe with the wonderful director-writer before, and you asked about his universes. He has to create something, and then he has to create something, and then he has to create something again. You know how many Fast and Furious there are. You know how many James Bond movies there are, right? How do you create this again? And to show you where we get our inspiration from, we get our inspiration from the different arts, the different visual arts. Short films, fully animated, experiential, location-based, movies, TV, and so on. So I'm going to start by playing a reel that tells you how we occupy the 5,000 to 7,000 people that work for us just here in India, many of whom have come and actually grown through our studio over a period of time. Maybe 10,000 artists who don't work with us today were also grown in this fantastic garden of opportunity, which is what we create at Technicolor Studios. So I'm going to play you a reel. There are two fantastic presentations coming later in the day. Raj Rajan is going to talk to you about MPC and how we have won 4 Oscars over the last decade or so. You're going to have Chand telling you how the latest creations in the world, no matter if it's a game or outdoor, is going to be created at the mill. So those 2 sessions are going to be even more fantastic. So what you're seeing now in this keynote is a trailer, okay? First, I'm going to show you the Technicolor reel. Lights down, and can we play the reel, please? I'm going to click it from here. A big hand for the artists who made this, please. So basically, I would say that Technicolor Creative Studios is India Joy. Because here you have to sit in different rooms and do everything, but we do it all under one roof. So imagery, what you're seeing here, is not past but present. It rests with everyone in their mind. You heard the talk before. And basically, we place these images in a temporal order, right? Our business is to lead a progression across generations of storytelling. So when we actually work on Kung Fu Panda, which we've done for 10 years, over about 3 or 4 seasons of TV, 4 movies, etc., you will see how the same franchise, the same character, the same performance is enhanced in a way that you didn't think possible when you did the first one. And basically, we are about the human capacity. We bring your capacity, our capacity, to games and film and TV and advertising and communications. And today with AI and Gen AI, which was talked about, we use this as raw material. You're going to see in my next 15 or 20 minutes, at least 3 or 4 cases where ML and AI and everything has been used by us for years together. And we're going to bring that to you both in this session and in the sessions later in the day. So I'm going to move forward by going to the next slide. So once upon a time, what is this on the screen? Storyboard. We actually get involved way before this happens. Someone has an idea. They want to make, for example, a Lion King. And then at that time, it's a concept. And we get to work with them to say, how will this concept be treated in imagery? VFX is a part of that whole image-making process, right? And basically, storyboards have changed in what they are and what they do. So when, for example, The Lion King was made, this was not the kind of storyboard that was used. It was 5 people from Jon Favreau and the VFX supervisor there and our VFX supervisor all sitting together with controllers. And actually in VR, they locked the entire Lion King movie before it was done in the visual effects animated pipeline. So the storyboard itself is changing. The thing about this summit is you have to understand every facet of creating an image is changing. And there can be many tools that you can use to do that. That was the birth, in fact, of virtual production, which they later on got to use in other films like The Mandalorian, etc., etc. But it started even before in Jungle Book, where we did a little bit of that whole technique, which then was used later on. So it doesn't matter which side of the production process you look at, but art is present in different ways, in technological ways, and the visual effects world, and the gaming world with the virtual production technologies, with the real-time technologies, is changing all that. Everyone in this room will be using a real-time technology method of producing film and TV and games and everything else within the next 5 years. So you must keep abreast with that. Why do we work so hard to make something that can be shot naturally in a computer graphics pipeline? The question was asked earlier that people should do things naturally. It is today patently unpopular, unfair, and not allowed for you to make animals do the things that we did to make animals act before. It's just not the right thing to do. And therefore, whether it was Dumbo that we made for Disney, or whether it's all the animals that we made in Lion King, where nothing was actually shot with a normal camera, the task of creating creatures is something that MPC and the mill are particularly proud about, because we can create it photoreal, but we have to make them act. And looking back in time, basically, visual effects is just that. It is a modern manifestation of what you tried to do in different ways. So in the past 10 years, we have unleashed our ability to create all of this in a way that, that nobody can, right? You know what science has done for us? Science was created because people watched nature and made it into scientific principles. A man walked with his dog in Switzerland, came back and couldn't take those things that got stuck. They're called burrs. They got stuck to the coat of the dog. And from that, while he was looking at it, he discovered Velcro, which all of you are using on your bags and everything else. So we look at nature and we make scientific principles. You know what we do in VFX? We take science and make it back to nature. So we are completing the circle of nature to science and science to back again. We are unleashing from science what was natural before. And great artistry. By the way, you saw today, some personalities from the cinematic world. We meet a lot of people. We deal with the best directors in the world. We made 6 or 7 movies for Sir Ridley Scott. We worked with all the best directors. There's one thing that I must tell you what they have. And I think it's very much present in the young people today. It is humility. They never show off. Great humility. It is my belief that we make great things happen when we stop seeing ourselves as God's gift, and when we see that others are God's gift to us, that's when it really works. So I can tell you the one thing, even though we have hundreds and thousands of people working for us, they are a team. They are one team. They think alike. They look at a project alike. They look for it, in a way that they can all come and make this thing happen together, and that's the energy that you feel. It's a little bit more difficult remotely, but when we are all together, it's fantastic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about technology, because it seemed to be a big number of questions that came up. And let's start with the last 10 years. All of us are trying to do just a few simple things to make it more simple, to make it more personal, to make it more interactive, and to make it more lifelike. It would have been cruel to get one animal picked up by another animal and a third animal trying to grab it. I mean, it would be cruel in real life. So I'm just making the case for VFX that this is the way to do it. And when you see it, it should be believable. In the previous session, they said, hey, you know, when we used to make VFX before, people used to play with it. So when somebody wants to kill someone, they throw a knife, it goes 3 times forward, 2 times backward, then kills the guy. That's not VFX, okay? That's gimmicks, and I think that's what we would not like to do. You would not like to do that. This was a VFX shot. So I'm going to move up now to talk to you a little bit about what you want to know. A lot of questions, a lot of fears about technology. We constantly, what we do every day in our studio, what we do in all of our 4 brands, is we produce new code. Even the process of making images code, basically that's what we are doing. And we keep writing tools, keep writing technologies. We write technologies for fur, we write for crowds, we write for simulating anything. And those of you who think that you are restricted to entertainment, don't think this way. Because whether you're Google or an Amazon or any company in the world, imagery, once you know how to model, once you know how to create an image, every company requires it. They build aeroplanes with it. They make cars like that. They make everything there. We make cars for games inside a game engine. Or we make FIFA for the last 15 years in our games business. And we are going to see all of our team here with our client EA day after tomorrow for 3 days. Now, all of this happens because we are able to harness technology. So what is it that you should know about generative AI and all the things that are happening, right? Basically, the things that generative AI is talking about and AI is talking about are things like computer vision. We've done this for years. Virtual agents, we've done it for years. Digital twins, done it for years. In fact, the state government in Bangalore has created, for 35 crores, they have created a dome with 200 cameras in which any of you can become a digital twin of yourself. Facial recognition, right? Not new. I mean, if you go to the airport today, they recognize it. A natural language generation. All of these things have been unleashed over time, and I'm going to show you 2 examples, and do attend the mill session, which is, I think, later in the day, where you'll see several examples of how we've created the footballer Messi and taken him back into time and so on. It's amazing. But all of this is not new. And it's very important for you to know that you should only give it the place it deserves in your scheme of things, and not make it something that you want to create something with. So that's my point about technology. From script to screen, anyone making a movie anywhere at any time in my lifetime has always had to deal with a zillion unknown obstacles. The way we look at technology is, it is only meant to solve the problem. That's all. It's only meant to solve the problem. It's nothing more and it's nothing less. So for those of you who don't know us at MPC, we make approximately 25 to 30 movies a year, and we make about 25 to 30 TV series. Like, anyone seen House of Dragons? Yes. Made by two or three gentlemen sitting in the first table, and they're going to talk to you later in the day. Anybody here seen any of these movies? Transformers? Anyone seen Transformers? Made by these 2-3 gentlemen sitting on the first table. Anyone seen Ant-Man? I am going to take you inside Ant-Man in 1 minute. Inside. The metaverse. So ours is a specialized industry, but all we do is we are in the business of manipulating pixels to precision in order to make sure that you don't see the VFX. And we basically are coming from a tradition where if you take this state, any state in India, right? Craft artists made pottery and glassware and textiles and things that were functional. And fine artists made things like painting and sculpting and things that adorn our temples, and I think we are trying to bring all of that back in the virtual world. But let me show you how we have tried to create the universe. So we used about 1,000 artists and we delivered about 800 shots in this movie. I did hear from the previous panel that Marvel isn't doing all that very well. But guess what? It's not because of the VFX. You need a great story. You need to make sure that the people who are watching something see it as a beautiful experience. And the environments which you are going to see, and I'm going to only give you like about 2 minutes of that movie. It's an environment which spans 40 kilometers, right? In 40 kilometers in diameter and 20 kilometers of quantum skies. So it takes a lot to make a movie in which you can throw yourself inside that world. So with that, I'm going to ask you to put the lights down, please. And hopefully double click on Ant-Man. Volume.
Why do you think you could stop me?
With our sister studios made in India. This is where we are. We need to go forward from here. We need to make sure that like we have taken Indian talent and made this work on the biggest movies in the world, we also now want to make sure that we use visual effects to tell our own stories. And I'm very happy to tell you that we were approached about 1.5, 2 years ago by Maddock Films. And they said, hey, you know what, we have this very challenging story. It's Varun Dhawan who has to go to Arunachal Pradesh in the forest, and there's an actual old tale, folklore tale from Arunachal Pradesh, where he turns into a wolf. And so, anyone seen Bhedia over here? Yeah, quite a few of you. So I'm going to show you a very short. That was a long clip of 3 minutes. I'm going to show you just a very short transition clip of how we've then brought him to Bangalore, how we use motion capture in the Vicon studio that we have in the association there. Like Twaga in Hyderabad, we have EBA in Bangalore, and they have this fantastic center of excellence where many, many actors now have come. Yash has come, and you had Kamal Hassan doing about his second movie, and many, many people have come and done stuff there. And so what I want to show you is, how we are using this expertise, which we work on in global films, but also come in here. And the important point for an artist, for all of you artists, is the variety, right? So you're going to be working, when you saw I could only fit 8 posters on that scene from the 20 films last year. When you work on that variety, that is when your skill set, gets better and better and better. Because otherwise, if you're going to do the same thing, you're repeating yourself, and your own growth will not be that steep. So I think using creative technology helps the to go beyond the character transformation that you can do with a live action camera. And visual effects studios like us, we enhance the film, right? So when someone said it's addictive, I mean, I would love to be addictive to this kind of stuff, right? The previous gentleman said VFX is addictive. It's not. If anything is addictive, it's the question of storytelling. It's movies themselves that are addicted, right? Which is why people make sequels. So this one, Bhedia, was a very interesting project, our first full movie that we worked on in India. And it wants to prove that, hey, you know what? We can bring Hollywood home. We can bring it right here. It's about 640 shots, which we finished in about 1.5 years approximately. We won every single award in the country. And currently it's up for the Asian Academy of Creative Awards, which has all the big movies from all over the world. And we are competing against Australia and Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and many other places because we want to win. We want to win that accolade for our artists and for the folks that actually made this phenomenal story. So for those of you who've seen it and for those of you who haven't, I'm going to play you the breakdown. Lights down, and I'll play you the Bhedia breakdown, please. Can you help me to put the reel on, please? Show you a big hand for all those fantastic guys and for the faith and the challenge that the director and the producers took to come and subject themselves. I mean, we were there at the mocap facility in Bangalore, and it takes a lot for an actor to give himself and to create those scenes that then we later replicate. And as you can see from this breakdown, there's a lot that goes into it, right? Visual effects isn't some button that you press and something else happens. There's a lot of painstaking work done by a lot of people. At this stage, I just wanted to tell you that, I just wanted to say that, you know, why I think we have been as successful as we have in these last 15, 16 years in India is because we have created something that goes between the schools in which students go to and the production floor. So this is where there is a big leap that needs to be taken. And so we developed tools. We had the best people in the world. We were lucky to do that in many parts, in Canada, in the UK, in the United States. And we've created curriculum for getting people to be ready to go on to producing this kind of fantastic imagery. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, was a good year. Before this year had all those terrible strikes and, you know, put us kind of back foot at the moment. But last year itself, we ran 72 academies internally within our company. It's called the Technicolor Creative Academy. It was formerly also the MPC Academy. We integrated it into a much larger thing. And guess what? We're now taking this academy to other parts of India. So our first academy that we did of Technicolor Creative Academy, I met 2 people today that graduated from our academy. And that was here in Hyderabad last year for compositing. But you're going to see in Hyderabad and other places, many academies for different courses coming up. We're doing that in partnership with Global VFX, which is part of the Rotomaker Group. But we're doing this in Delhi starting next month, and we'll take it to other parts of India. Because as Technicolor, we believe we owe it to the community in this country to make sure that the technologies that we have to bring people to the global level should actually be available everywhere, north, south, east, and west. And that's going to be our project for the next year or two, along with my fellow colleagues who actually are the inspiration behind this. I just thought I should mention that because what we want to do is to make people very strong in their craft, help them develop their eye, help them develop what they can really do in global image making. So, as I said, creatures in particular is an amazing thing. I shouldn't say this publicly, but I will. I have a favorite show from last year, and it's on Apple TV. And it was done by us, and it's called Prehistoric Planet. And I'll tell you why it's my favorite show. It is a world that has been made with Sir David Attenborough and others, which we have created a world 66 million years ago. It's 66 million years ago. It did so well that it went for a second season. And if anyone wants to see what you can do, just letting your imagination run wild with visual effects and computer graphics, it is to see shows like that. Way into the future, way into the past, and anything in between. And I think for a 5,000-year-old society, culture, which we have in the Telugu culture, it is amazing what you can do if you want to go back and then go forward from there. And I think that's much more informative and much more exciting than trying to tell people things in textbooks. So I'm going to move on to just tell you that what you see here is very important because it's code. It's code for water. It's code for fur. It's code for environments. It combines, you heard physics, but physics is not the only thing. It's physics and math and color sciences rolled into one big bundle that actually happens in what we do. And if I'm not mistaken, we have somewhere between 100 or 200 developers here in India that actually don't do any visual effects, but they help us to write the code for the artists and the others to actually be able to create the stuff that you see on the screen. And that happens right here in India. So we're kind of making that happen. My last two slides, and this is a very special moment. Anybody in this audience has heard or seen of something called a Sphere in Las Vegas? Okay, those guys. Has anybody gone online and seen the video of the Sphere in Las Vegas? Please put your hand up. So the opening concert of the Sphere with U2 performing and the screens on the back was done by Technicolor's mill substantially in India. You didn't know that. And I'm going to show you that. So when things happen in breaking news around the world, and it's amazing because, I mean, it's like the HICC. It's got 10,000 people inside who feel like they're inside a theater. And then this whole theater is around them. And I'm dying to go there just to see a show because it is the most mind-boggling image place that you can ever find. And we did this reincarnation of Elvis Presley. And since I'm out of time, I could just say that we took about 800 or so video clips of, from various Elvis films, and we had to construct this experience. The final projection is it's a 16K by 16K resolution, which is, can you imagine it? 16K by 16K, imagine a resolution all over there, all stitched together in a way where you combine 2D and 3D and create a final vortex, which is a universe. And that really is an experiential show. And kids today, kids even younger than you, today India has a generation of people under 25 and 35. And they just don't want to see things. They're happy to see something because they're working on a mobile phone, but you need to have this experiential stuff. And that's what I think we love to do. So you're going to hear more about that, later in the day from the MPC and the mill panels. But I'm going to play you one final clip before I make my closing comments and ask you if there are any questions. So if you have the lights down again, please. And here's a 36-second, very quick clip of the Elvis work at Sphere. Imagine you're inside that dome. You're seeing this all around you. next time, I think we will ask the organizers of India Joy to make one room which is fully becoming a sphere, and we'll get all the studios who are participating here to come and make something, because it could be fantastic. Imagine a Diwali celebration that looks like that. It would be really fantastic. So I'm going to end here by just telling you that why do I come to conferences? I'm a conference warrior. I go to every conference there is. In fact, people in the studios ask me, where is Biren? Oh, he must be at some conference. But you know why I come to conferences? And I love the way you're looking at me. I come to conferences to listen. I come to conferences to listen. Most of what I'm telling you, I've heard from some other conference, and from my colleagues, and from the young artists that I work with, right? And we celebrate them, yeah? Rakesh, can you raise your right hand? He's just won an award for 40 under 40 today. So these are the kind of people. I come here to be inspired by you guys, by my team, by the work that we do, the clients that we work with. It's such a fantastic feeling. And you know what? We're a community. I think the VFX community today is going to change the world, because you know why? We are so collaborative, right? There are 5 companies presenting at the VFX Summit. And all of them have leaders who worked with us at Technicolor. All, without exception. Heads of production, heads of creative, heads of studio. It's such a great feeling that you're fostering and building a community that, you know, is of your own band of brothers and sisters. And I think that's really what happened. I really want to thank Twaga. I want to thank India Joy. I want to thank all of you guys for participating in how we're going to unleash the future. I hope I've shown you some futuristic stuff. I normally have a slide that says thank you, but what better way of saying thank you to you than leaving you watching some of the most amazing images that we made, and asking you that we have 4 shortlisted movies. Please cheer for us at the next Oscar so I can come back to India Joy with my head held high next year. Thank you so much. Any questions? One or two? Oh. If you have any questions, they're free. If they're difficult questions, you have to buy me coffee. If they're easy, I'll buy you one. Raise your hand. Yes. You're going to ask me about AI. You asked the last panel about AI.
No, I'm going to ask about something else.
Right.
So I've read somewhere that, you know, VFX in India India contributes to about 5% of the global VFX thing. And I just want to ask that India is seen as a labor-intensive country, and, you know, we are seen as a non-creative thing which can be done, and the creative heads are there internationally. So do you see a trend right now where, you know, internationally, globally, they are seeing India as they are capable of doing even the creative part, right? Right now, they are just seeing us as a non-creative thing. Do you see that trend emerging? And, you know, are there domestic companies, like you are an SA, you are an international company, right? Tricolor, I think so.
We are a 100% Indian company in India. We are part of a global company.
The subsidiary has been opened in these. So you have the technology backing, right? So as a domestic company who is starting in India, are they capable of doing the creative part, you know, without any backing or without the technology? Is that capability being built in India? And is the trend coming right now that we can do the creative thing and just not the non-creative thing? Yeah, thank you.
I'm very happy to tell the audience, since we don't know each other, that you do not belong to the visual effects industry. Are you a visual effects artist or a, huh? Yeah, because if you were, then you would never have made that statement. So I can just tell you that since you want a business question for free, normally people pay $1 million to get a report, but I can answer your question for free, and you still have to buy me coffee. The answer is this. In some of the, so I told you there are 14, 15 different skill sets that you make. So we started the simplest skill sets quite some time back. Some people very sadly call it back end, okay? But the people who call it back end don't know what their front end looks like. So I can only tell you that in MPC, for example, and you saw all the work on the screen, a significant close to all work is done in India and has been done in India for the last more than 7 to 10 years. We actually create end-to-end sequences in India, whether it's in advertising, whether it's in episodic work or in feature films of the highest order. And that, I think, is something that people are beginning to do in other studios as well. Global majors are now coming to India to do exactly the same thing. Because India in Roto and Prep and Matchmove, we are about 70, 80% or more of the world's market here on the simpler skills. Okay? Those are also not totally non-creative. There's nothing that we do that is not creative. But as you move up to more sophisticated things like models and textures and rigs and lighting and compositing, etc., not to mention animation, which is acting, and no, either you can act or you can't act in real life. Similarly, either you can act or you can't act as an animator in the computer graphics pipeline. There is no other way. Lighting is about training the eye. Everything that you see there is pixel perfect. I don't know if you can imagine what 16,000 by 16,000 resolution means, because maybe some people don't even have a 4K TV at home yet. It's not required, right? So the point I want to make to you is, Indian artistry is only looked down upon by people in the world that are scared of India. I'll repeat that. They say things about India's creativity only because they are scared of Indian artistry, which has proven itself time and again for many years, and whether it's visual effects or anything else that you have seen here or you will see here in the next 2 days, it is made in India for the world and will increasingly be made in India for the world. That's the answer.
Hi, Mr. Ghosh.
Hi.
Thank you for
Mr. Ghosh was my father. My name is Biren.
Hi, Mr. Biren. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very useful. I'm not from the industry, and I would love to buy you a coffee. So my question is, I think I'll take on from where you said, how do you see the VFX industry with the new ChatGPT or the AI, or from the text to image, with all this happening? How is the industry changing? How are the studios changing? And like, can you just tell us how would it affect even the job market as well, if someone were to start a
So I'll start by telling you that even though you're not from our industry, but you'll agree that Indians are very smart. My first point. Second point, how did the IT industry in India happen? Because people were afraid of Y2K. So companies made lots of money preparing people for Y2K, and nothing happened on Y2K. The people drank on 31st and they recovered from their hangover on 1st, and everyone was very happy. Then people were very scared of the internet. The internet was a very, very scary thing. Today, you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. The internet was desperately scary. And then people basically got used to it, and today, great-grandmothers and great-grandkids are all, they don't even know they're using the internet. They just say we're online, right? So that's the scare that happened at that time. AI has been around in many forms, by the way. And we've been using it for quite some time. Generative has given it another dimension. So will certain skills be automated? Yes. Will it actually displace certain jobs? Yes. What should happen to the jobs that are displaced? They should go to the higher level. I told you we have a pipeline of 12 or 14. There's a 2D track and a 3D track. So a person who starts today as a roto artist, he should be aspiring to become a compositor, right? What will happen when that happens? Something else. Let me give you a simple example. You're watching Lion King on the screen, okay? Now, when you are watching Lion King, don't forget there was a Lion King made 30 years back. How many artists worked on it? About 300 to 500 artists worked on it. 30 years later, how many artists worked on it? 300 to 500. But you know what happened this time? They needed to have many more people because it was computerized. They need to have people operating production management, workforce planning, pipeline management, all kinds of things were happening, and people writing the code for this is much more. In the earlier days, you had to buy a light box and a pencil. No one wrote anything. So the moment you computerize and automate, you have a whole different set of jobs that are coming in for automation. So you've got to think of it in those terms. You've got to think of it as there's going to be new technology, and it will be disruptive, and it will open many more jobs. That's the answer.
Thank you so much. Yeah. That was very helpful. So just taking it further from there, you said, okay, Y2K came, nothing changed, the industry moved.
No, nothing changed, but we were able to actually sensitize the whole world to creating software in India for every business.
Got it.
So that changed.
So Y2K
and then when internet came, you know how we have used internet, right? Now, rest of the conversation, because I want other people to ask questions, we'll take over the coffee that you promised to buy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, any other questions, or are we done? Superb. So I came here to teach everyone the spelling of VFX, and hopefully you have learned from that, from my class, how deep 3 letters are. And I hope I've been able to unleash on you the magic that is, done by many, many people in India. And I think Hyderabad and what your government is doing and what the industry is doing and what Twaga is doing will be great. And can I just ask a lady from Invest India to please stand up? So what she is doing is she's working with all of us, and we are making presentations to the world that if they want to do anything, they need to come here and invest in India. And I was told that you are looking for 3 photographs from Bangalore, which I will send you today for the deck that you're making. So thank you very much. Please sit down. Okay. Real-time conversation. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day. And don't miss the presentations from MPC and the mill coming up later, because they've told me not to make a good presentation because they are going to make a better presentation to you. So thank you so much.